Ciao a tutti. Hello, everyone. I am so excited. Today, we don't have our usual podcast episode. Today, we have a guest, our beautiful Melina, that's calling, I was going to say from sunny Italy. It's not so sunny. I think it's raining and kind of gross this weekend.
No.
But I really wanted to chat with Melina today about our trip to Sicily that's coming up in about a year. Melina is our host. She hosts our Sicily and Puglia trips. Melina is Italian Australian or Australian Italian, or she can tell you more about that. Melina is an irreplaceable part of our team. Everybody absolutely loves her when they come and join her trips. When I was with the group the first time and Melina joined, I said, "Okay, I can go home. Like I'm no longer needed. You guys are good. You're in good hands." And every time we have ladies come to Puglia, I get raving reviews about how amazing Melina is. So I wanted to chat with Melina. I wanted her to share her story with us a little bit, and I wanted her, in her own words, to tell us a little bit more about Sicily and our incredible adventure. So before further ado, Melina, can you please tell us who Melina is?
Hi, everybody. So, yes, I am Melina, obviously. I'm Australian born. I have been living in Italy for 10 years. I've been back and forth from Italy for the last 20, where I've been working. So I'm a chef. So this is my background. When I sold my restaurant in Australia. I had a restaurant, and then I started working with a cooking school. And so I decided, after a lot of things happened, that I wanted to open up my own cooking school. So that's what I did. So I got together with a group of chefs and we opened up a cooking school in Italy. And then from there, because we talk so much about food and where food comes from, especially in Italy, because, different parts of Italy have different foods. The whole tourist thing came up. So that's where I started doing food tours in Italy and then teaming up with other great people like yourself, um, to do food tours. And that's a big thing of what I do now. I have a restaurant in Italy, with a great team. So at some times during the year, I leave the restaurant just to give myself a bit of a break, and I do the whole food touring kind of thing. So that's me. So with my chefing background, and for me, cooking and food is a really important part of my life. It's what I grew up with. My parents were both born in Calabria, so Italian is in my blood. And so learning about the ingredients and where the food comes from, and just, anything Italian is just so big, and everybody wants to be Italian and everybody wants to eat Italian and everybody wants to cook Italian. So my philosophy is, if you want to learn about this sort of stuff, you need to learn how to be Italian. So that's what I try and show people in Italy, because being Italian is not just an identity, it's a state of mind, the soul, the heart. That's what it is. So that's what we try and show people, when I'm doing tours. That's what I want everybody to see, that being Italian or eating Italian, it comes from here. So that's what we try and learn.
I love it. It comes from here. It comes from the throat where the food goes.
Yeah, everywhere. It seeps out of everywhere.
You know, I love that you're saying like that being Italian is like as a feeling during COVID when we all did a lot of million stupid crazy things like to keep ourselves sane. I decided I'm going to go in the discovery of my genealogy. I'm like, I have to have at least 1% Italian. Like I have this
Yeah.
connection to Italy, and I love Italian food, and I like when I land in Rome or anywhere else in Italy, like, I just feel like home. So I went and did my DNA testing and my ancestry and all of that. Zero. I got nothing Italian. I was so angry. I was like, give me my money back.
Because I would say you have some Italian in you too.
Right? But
Yeah.
it'll be a story for another time. I did discover I have some past lives connected to Italy. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. So we can
Well,
have a whole other episode about that.
that's maybe best left alone.
Yeah.
That could be scary.
But let's not talk about past lives. Let's talk about this life and all the amazing food that you cook and that we get to eat with you in Puglia and in Sicily, because you teach our groups how to make focaccia. Like, tell us a little bit about like all the cooking stuff that we're getting to do with you.
Same thing there. So I know people, like I do 10 different types of tours in Italy. The north to the south of Italy, central Italy, so we have our three different types of Italy is extremely different. But every single region, so in Italy we have 20 regions, and every single region is different. It's different the way the people are, it's different the way the landscape is, and so it's obviously different the way the food is. The history is complete. Italy has such this amazing and incredible history, which is why we have such amazing people. We're such this mixed blood of so many different cultures that have had to survive wars and and all sorts of things. So that is also reflected in the food of Italy. So whether we're in Puglia, whether we're in Sicily, or wherever we are, the food is extremely different. So a lot of people, when they come and do a food tour, they're like, oh, I didn't eat risotto on this trip. It's like, well, no, because if you're going to go to Verona or if you're going to go to Venice, you're going to eat risotto, but you're not going to eat that in the south. So we're going to have arancini. We have the rice, but it's made differently because it's an Arab influence and it's a Spanish influence. It's not the way they cook it in the north. So when I'm teaching, we try and pick on foods that are very typical of the area, and often they're foods that people have no idea about, because when we talk about Italian food outside of Italy, we have most Italians that were emigrating to other parts of the world were from the south. So that's why we get, lots of pizza and lots of pasta. So these are all southern dishes that are coming from Napoli, where the poor countries were. So a lot of times when you're in Italy, whether you're in Puglia or you're in Sicily, you're going to eat a lot of things that you just don't even know are Italian. So this is what I love. This is what I love, is taking away this stereotype of what Italian food is and then just blowing people's minds with all the different things that you can find. And so that's what we try and help people to discover Italian food, because it's not what you would generally think.
No, it's not. When we're like, oh, can we have some meatballs and spaghetti? We're like,
No.
I also love how many rules are in Italy. I remember this is gonna be like forever my favorite memory from the first trip when we came to Italy before you joined us. We had the first dinner, and Augusto, who's our partner in Puglia, pulled me aside the next morning. He's like, Anna, how was dinner last night? And I was like, terrible. He goes, what's wrong? I'm like, first of all, they refused to put pineapple on my pizza. I was so upset. Second of all, pasta was undercooked. What is this crunchy thing? And third, they wouldn't give me cappuccino. Augusta, I'm going home. He was like, he didn't know. He was so petrified. I was like, I'm joking. I know all of these things that are taboo in Italy. You cannot have cappuccino after dinner. So there's so many rules. So like, I know all these rules in Italy. Does Sicily have all these rules as well about food?
Well, in Italy in general, you can't have cappuccino after 10 o'clock, not after dinner. So it's after 10 o'clock. After 10 o'clock, we have
I'm having my cappuccino now. It's 10:23.
we drink something with bubbles in it, or we drink wine, like it's not good for the gut. There's so many.
Breaking the rules. I'm breaking the rules.
All over Italy. Sicily has its own rules, not so much. It has its rules, well, not so much rules. So it's kind of like when we talk of like, so in Sicily, we eat a lot of fish. We eat a lot of couscous. Couscous is something that we eat in Sicily that you just don't find anywhere else in the north. Like I introduced that in my restaurant at lunchtime, where we have kind of like a workman's lunch. And so I really love to get cheeky. And so I introduced other foods from, all over Italy, and people just kind of like, what's the Australian crap that you're cooking? I'm like, it's not Australian, it's Italian. Like they don't get it. They don't understand it. Like simple things like caponata. Caponata in Sicily, they love to play with the idea of sweet and sour in their foods. So I introduced that after my last trip to Sicily into the restaurant for our summer menu. And everybody went crazy over it. Oh my God, this is so amazing. This is so fantastic. I'm like, well, it's actually Italian food. But not so much rules, but because of this, whole landscape thing and, the way the country is. So back in the day, food didn't travel from the north to south like it did now. So the foods that you find in the south, they stayed in the south. The foods that you find in the north stayed in the north. So this is what's really interesting about Italian food, is that now we talk about 0 kilometers, right?
Say that, yeah.
This has been an Italian staple for like millennia, thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and it hasn't changed, because
Yeah.
when something's good, you don't change it, right? So this is the whole big nonnas thing. It's good like this. Why would I change it? Just don't change it.
Yeah.
So not so much rules, but you do find maybe a lot of things that you'll see all over Sicily.
Yeah.
But then when we go from the north of Sicily to the south of Italy, that one particular recipe changes just a little bit, but then it just makes it change completely. So that's another really amazing thing.
Yeah. This reminds me, we had on a couple of previous Puglia trips, a couple of trips ago, we had a bit of a challenge with finding Prosecco in Puglia. Wasn't that the situation?
Yes, yes. It was the situation. Yes, we have trouble finding prosecco because it's a northern thing. So we have different things. But it's even like, we have a spritz. You have a spritz is a northern Italian thing. So in the south we have, amaretto drinks, or we drink more like liqueurs. So Sicilians, it's the home of gelato, Sicily. So Sicilians have a really sweet tooth. So they
Yeah.
go more for the liqueurs and their pre-aperitifs as opposed to your prosecco, so to speak. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny.
I am so looking forward to my Prosecco's. I'm leaving for Venice in 2 days.
Well,
I
you're like prosecco, like the heaven. That's prosecco heaven. I'm jealous.
We're going into Prosecco Hills. We have a whole day dedicated to Prosecco. Hello, Venice. Here I come.
Sì, 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 sì.
So between all of the Proseccos and cappuccinos and pizzas and pastas and tiramisu, I also I sample tiramisu every place that I go, and then I come back with like this scale of like which tiramisu was best where. So like I can't wait. I know Sicily's the cannolis is their signature. Um,
Cannoli, cannoli, cannoli. Yeah, so cannoli is like a shell. And then the cannoli in Sicily is made sheep's milk ricotta. So this is probably something that a lot of people don't know. So the cannoli that you get in Sicily, you won't find around the world because we don't milk sheep in the other parts of the world. So it's, maybe like you taste it at home in, the States, and then you put it in your mouth in Italy, and it's like, oh, wow, this isn't what I thought, but damn, it's good. So everything's a surprise. Everything's a surprise.
Everything that we eat in America is not what we eat in Italy. Like I go to Italy even if I have like a full busy day of work, meetings, site inspections, like I just live for that breakfast at the masseria or at the hotel because the breakfast spread between all the fresh eggs and the cheeses. I remember when I came to Puglia the first time and I was talking to one of the people from the staff or the hotel. They're like, well, the eggs were from the chickens that like we collected them at 5 a.m. and the cheese was made from the milk. That I was like, oh my God, this is not 0 kilometers. I mean, is it 0 kilometers? But it's also like 2 hours radius of like when all of this was created.
The place we stay at in Puglia, the ricotta is made fresh every morning and brought in, like it's still warm when you taste it. And this is a really good thing about the trips we do too, is like the hotels that we stay at, it's not normal hotels. They're places that has been specifically chosen that provide this kind of traditional farming history and the way people eat. And it's a part of Italian everyday lives. So you're not just staying at a hotel, you're actually getting an experience. So those kinds of things are picked and chosen really on purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would love to share my screen for a few minutes. If because I want to show everyone our amazing itinerary to Sicily. Melina, can you see my screen?
Yes.
And you see Sicily instead of my messy desktop. Okay. Because I have two screens and I wasn't sure which one I'm sharing. So good.
I can see Sicily.
I also have a picture of, can you see the cannoli?
Cannoli, yeah.
So that's the cannoli we were talking about. But we're going to go back into the Sicily itinerary. I would love to, if you could like maybe highlight a few things for us from this particular trip. We have,
Yeah.
so this is our lovely group of women that went last time. We're using them as our models for,
This is a fantastic experience. We do an olive tasting in the morning, and then we in amongst the olive grove we have a picnic lunch, which is made by everything's made by hand. It's all preserves and arancini, and we kind of just sit down in the olives and contemplate life. And the thing I love about Italy, anywhere in Italy, especially in Sicily, is just we learn to take it slow. Like we learn just to decompress. And this is a perfect example. It's an amazing experience.
Yeah, dolce far niente, right? That is that the saying?
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah.
of doing nothing, which for us Americans, which I can say I'm an American. Yesterday I celebrated 25 years anniversary living in this country, so I'm official
Oh,
American.
yeah.
So I say us Americans, and it still sounds funny to me. But for Americans, don't like the sweetness of doing nothing is such a foreign concept. Like we're always on the go, we're always doing something. So like to go to Italy, to freaking slow down for a minute, to just like
Yeah.
smell their olive oil and smell the coffee and eat that like freshly baked bread. Like you don't get this anywhere here. Like it's just like it's just
No,
not possible.
it's the first thing people need to learn when they arrive. Because most people arrive and they go, okay, I'm off the plane and I need this and I need this and I need this. Like, whoa, let's have a drink.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
we can talk about what you need.
And as I'm sipping on my cappuccino that's already cold and past 10 o'clock, um, I remember the first time I came on a business trip, and I met my guide, and I was like, okay, can I just grab some coffee and we can go? So we went into the coffee bar, and she's like, okay, and she gives me like this little teeny tiny like espresso shot, and I'm like, what is this? What am I like? Where is my 2 liter mug that I can carry with me the whole day that's gonna get cold? She's like, what are you talking about? No, like we drink, we like it's like a bar, like where you in America we go to a bar and get a beer, and here we go to a bar and get an espresso shot. You like and go. And I was like, oh,
Any
okay.
Italian would be looking at that going, that's not good for your gut. Your stomach can't handle that much milk. There would be there would be a long list of health issues that they would present you with.
Yeah.
I need to, my son's just arrived. I just need to open the door. Give me 1 second.
Yes. Yes. While you
Okay.
do that, I'm going to scroll down and show our ladies more goodness about Sicily. Um, so this is one of the hotels where we're staying, ladies, a beautiful countryside resort. I just love the look of this and how peaceful and serene this is. And this goes very well with the Dolce Far Niente theme. But we will also get into the hustle and bustle of Palermo and Catania. And there's so much beauty in Sicily, from the nature to the bustling streets to the architecture. There's so much, so much. I can't wait to see all of this with my kids. Hi, I was just talking about how, sorry, what was that?
There's some great pictures.
Yeah, this is one of the hotels where we're staying, and I was saying how like it makes me just looking at it makes me like like my heart rate goes down, just makes me want to like relax and slow down and grab a glass of wine and sit under that tree and just like enjoy the sunshine.
The most beautiful thing about Sicily is I don't think that there's any place in the world that has been invaded by so many different populations than in Sicily, and big populations like, the Greeks and the Arabs. And the most amazing thing is that wherever you turn, whenever you're walking away, you see it everywhere. Like you don't just see it, like you feel it everywhere, like this mix of history and culture, and it comes through in everything they do and the way they act, and from the north to the south and from east to west. You really just you feel it when you're in Sicily.
That's amazing. Um, Melina, I want to take everyone to this page, Trip at a Glance. If you could choose
Sure.
maybe two things that are your favorite or that you really would love to tell our guests about, tell me which ones, and I'll scroll down to that page so we can look at the beautiful picture and you can tell us a little bit more about it.
Oh, that's really hard. That's really hard.
I mean, we can talk about
Okay,
all of
so
them and have a 45-hour long podcast.
no. Okay, so I'm gonna pick two things. Wine tasting lunch. So I'm gonna pick Palermo,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna pick the last day at in Etna.
Okay. So Palermo, we're starting with day 1 and day 2. So, straight into the food. We're starting with the food.
Surprise,
A
surprise.
surprise.
my favorite city in my favorite places in Italy are, the small towns, because that's really where you get to feel Italy. But my favorite city in Italy was Florence up until not long ago. My favorite city in Italy is now Palermo. Palermo is such this meeting point of culture and chaos that it just blows your mind. Like you just walk around and your jaw hits the floor from the buildings that you're looking at, the architecture that you're looking at, the smells, the food that is around everywhere, the yelling of people and the melting pot of cultures. Everybody's just happy and getting on with their everyday lives. Like Palermo is incredible, and then seeing the markets is out of this world. So Palermo is one of those experiences that I love, because it feels like somebody just transported you into this new dimension, and you really get it. It's really a great way to start the trip, because it gives you a very authentic feel of what Sicily is, what the people of Sicily are.
That's amazing. What are some of their traditional foods? Like, what are we going to taste on this tour, Taste of Palermo?
So we're going to taste arancini. Arancini obviously is two different types from the north to the south. So we're going to have the round arancini, not the pine cone ones. So you have two types of arancini, the round ones and the cone-shaped ones, which come from Mount Etna because it looks like the volcano. Whereas in Palermo, they're more round. So we're going to taste those. We taste some gelato. Obviously, Italians say that gelato was invented in Italy. It wasn't really, but we'll talk about that more when I see you guys. But they definitely perfected it. So we're obviously going to taste some gelato, but lots of little things. Panelle, which is a fried food. In Italy, we fry everything. You could fry a shoe and it would taste amazing in Italy, but the panelle are great. And we have a little bit of a liqueur tasting as well. Lots of really great things.
Awesome. Amazing. I can't wait. I'm getting hungry drinking my cold cappuccino.
Yeah, and then I pick up stuff along the markets. So the markets, I depends on what the season and how the season goes as to what. So whenever I see something that's a little bit different that I think people really need to taste, we just grab and we pick those as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. What about this Roman villa and this day? Is this still in Palermo, or are we going outside of the city here?
No, this is outside of the city. This is Piazza Armenia. So this will be on our transfer day. So to go from the north to the south of Italy is kind of a bit of a drive. So we do this stop along the way, which breaks up the trip a little bit. And this is an architectural site that is incredibly, and it's kind of like a must see. This is where people are going to want to go shopping.
Ooh, shopping. Yes. Keywords. So for our trips, we have two keywords: shopping and bathroom stops. Like that's two main keywords. So if anyone is worried that we're not going to have enough time for either, we will have plenty of time for either. We will even forego some bathroom stops for shopping. I know that's happened before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here we have Ortigia. So Ortigia is a beautiful island just off Syracuse. It's lots of color and lots of color. This is also a fantastic shopping place. This is where everyone's going to want to go shopping. Yeah. And we have some really nice desserts here. So they're very typical of Sicily. Like a cassata, which is with pasta di mandorla. It's a really, really beautiful dessert in Ortigia, and it's like a little island on the water. It's a beautiful, cute little. It's Sicily's version of Positano or Amalfi Coast kind of thing.
Oh, I'm excited about that. What kind of, well, when you said shopping, of course, that's the only thing that I heard from everything that you said. What kind of things can our guests expect to shop for? Is it like, I don't know, pottery or olive oils or leather? Like, what are we shopping for?
So we have different places in Italy where you shop for different things, and I usually tell people what they should shop for. So Ortigia's kind of like one of those little artisan kind of places. They have like little boutique kind of stores or like souvenirs that you want to take home. Generally, the big shopping, if you want to shop for yourself and you want to buy clothes, and you want to do that, leave it to the last day in Taormina. So this is like an artisanal kind of shopping thing. It's definitely a cute souvenir thing, without going into the tacky souvenirs, stuff that you want, memorable stuff that you want to take home for people.
So made in Sicily stuff.
made in Sicily, 100% made in Sicily. Not
Amazing.
only made in Sicily, made in Ortigia.
Yeah, amazing. This is, oh, look at this. I found you. This is from our last trip. I'll be paying you royalties for using your face in my promotional material.
This is in Ostuni, I'm
Yeah,
sure. Yes, this is in Ostuni. So
yeah,
this is the West City.
yeah, this is not
No,
from Puglia, but I just
no,
wanted,
it's
sorry, this is not from Sicily. This is from Puglia. This is our last group, but I wanted to show everybody's faces on this picture because everyone had such a great time and like all the smiles and just like the energy from this picture makes me so, so happy. So I wanted to show everyone that no matter where you go with us, Puglia or Sicily or Spain or Scotland, you will have that like warm and friendly energy from everyone who's joining
this
the trip.
is what I love about doing your trips, Anna, is because these women hadn't met each other until the day before, and by this day, everybody was like best friends. Like it's such an incredible thing to be able to put together a group of, especially women, let's face it. So
Yeah.
put together a group of women that bond so well. Like it's just, and it happens every single time. So it's that's a credit to you, but it's really amazing. This is why I love doing your trips.
Thank you. Thank you. I love the bonds that they create. Like you're part of our WhatsApp chat. It's been like 2 months since you guys did October trip, and the WhatsApp chat is still going. They're still like keeping in touch. They're still sending pictures and sending.
I had truffle had truffle week on. I was so busy. I had to mute the chat for a couple of days because I was getting so distracted
Yeah.
by all the photos. And I wanted to reply to everyone. I'm like, well, I'm just going to put this on pause for a second, and then I'll come back to it next week.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And if people are like, what is a travel week? A travel week is something that's happening in your part of Italy, like in the north and around Parma, right?
It is, yes, in my part of Parma, because we have the Truffle Mountains and Porcini Mountains, which you don't find in Sicily.
Yeah, absolutely. And a little tease for everyone listening. Melina and I are hard at work for on a new itinerary that will include a lot of truffles and everything else that her region has to offer. But we're keeping this under the wraps until we
Oh,
figure it out.
it's supposed to be a secret till we organize it
Yeah.
finally.
We will make it happen. We made all these trips happen. We will make that happen as well. All right, let's get back to our Sicily. So this is again some pictures and videos from our previous trips just to give everyone the idea and the feeling that this trip can evoke. Melina, we don't have to go through everything. Tell me if you want to just jump to, we already talked about you. We're not going to jump in here. We're going to talk about um Taormina
So
and
this is
Montana.
Taormina. Taormina is really beautiful because everybody knows Taormina. It's the cool part of Italy. Everybody wants to go to Taormina because obviously it's a beautiful place. The beach is incredible. But the shopping is amazing. But the thing I love about Taormina is what 99.9% of people that go to Taormina don't do is actually we head into the mountains of Taormina near the volcanoes, which have this incredible wine area, which is so unique to anywhere in the world because of the volcanic soils. So you have all these little tiny boutique wineries around, and just the countryside as you're seeing it. You're looking at volcanic mountains, and we drive around the mountain. We don't have to be scared. We're not going into the crater of the volcanoes, but and we go to this amazing winery where they pair wines with foods, and it's hands down my favorite part of the Sicilian trip. So this is one day that I really love sharing with people because it is Taormina, but we see Taormina in a different way. So that's what we're all about is, take away the mindset of what people think Sicily is and then blowing with their minds with what it really is.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited about this. Well, I think we covered everything. I'll scroll back, make everybody nauseous for a second, scroll back to this page so they can see the dates of our next trip to Sicily, which is October 5 through 13, 2025. It's going to be 8 glorious nights with lots of wine, with lots of gelato, with lots of cannoli, with lots of laughs. We didn't laugh nearly as much on this call as we usually laugh when we get together in Italy because the energy, the Italian way of life, like that feeling, it's very hard to project it through the computer, through the camera. But I'm so glad we got to do this. Melina, thank you so much for your time. This was lovely.
You're very
Um,
welcome.
We will do this again when we will talk more about Puglia or the secret trip that we're working on with all of the truffles. But thank you. This was lovely. And anyone that was watching, listening, if you want to join us in Sicily next year, we also have 2 trips to Puglia, one in the spring, one in the fall. Please check all the information in the comments, in the captions, or all our links to our website and our trips. We'll be more than happy to have you with us. Thank you so much, Melina, for joining us. And thank you everyone for listening.